On Production is brought to you by Wrapbook, the production industry's only on-demand payroll platform. With Wrapbook, you can pay your crew with a click and track all your costs in real time, all in one place. To find out more about how Wrapbook is transforming the way productions pay their crews, visit wrapbook.com.
Hello and welcome to a special episode of On Production, brought to you by Wrapbook. Today, we're celebrating all things West Virginia as we sit down with David and Megan from the West Virginia Development Office and Film Office. Today, they're going to share how the state is becoming a vibrant hub for filmmakers and discuss the unique opportunities and support available for productions. I'm excited to dive in with them as to what makes West Virginia a great place for producers' next projects. My first questions are for David. So you really spend a lot of time with the apprenticeship programs. Can you help us sort of learn more about those and what West Virginia is doing around apprenticeship?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So when I first came to work for the West Virginia Department of Economic Development, I was a trained journalist and did 5 paid internships when I was in college. And so love that work-based learning kind of model. And so I had been part of the apprenticeship expansion grant that helped bring apprenticeships into non-traditional sectors. And so put in the nation's first beer brewing apprenticeship that was USDOL certified, and then also helped with putting some in with like meat cutters, home health aides, wind turbine techs, helping our solar panel installers, and getting training funds to like kind of lift up those apprenticeship opportunities. And so that's been a fun thing as we've started the film project here. That we've been trying to take that work-based learning model and help expand the opportunities for film and TV here. So we've been doing a lot of trainings. We did about 20 trainings last year. And so got to do some stuff like with West Virginia Women Works, which is a very unique model to get women into the construction trades and also into manufacturing trades. And so did like a grip and electric lighting workshop with them to show them that they can work in that industry as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's always incredible amounts of crossover for the skills built in construction and electrical and film across all kinds of industries. So that's really cool.
We do love that kind of model, around the country, and we've kind of modeled after some of the film offices like New Orleans and, some of those just really best practices where they've done a great job of like introducing students and like say in Austin as well, like a community college there, really getting feeding students into those programs and having mentors as well in the industry. So we think that the film and TV industry is kind of really perfect for training up folks to get into the industry and make their stories where they're at, right?
On sort of the piece of skilled labor for producers, should they, come out to the state to film and maybe even just some background for our listeners is just sort of how you all have navigated this as you've been building the program and building the ecosystem in your state is, what sort of main hurdles in developing skilled labor in the film industry did you come across, and how does your office help producers sort of overcome these challenges and get access to on-the-ground resources to take advantage of your incentives, which, of course, we'll get to in a minute?
Well, we have a Real Scout database for professional crew services and locations. And so, we're very lucky in West Virginia. We're within a half a day's drive of half the U.S. population. And so we've always had, for the reasons that manufacturing comes here, we have also are blessed to have a very good worker base. And so, we're surrounded by some really booming film industries, hubs, places like Pittsburgh. And so, we understand with 5 border states that we are, Megan and I are of the idea of that you got to play well with others. And so, that we're better together. And so we've had great relationships with Don Keyser at the Pittsburgh Film Office in particularly, but also with Ohio and the other states, to kind of share crew, share ideas, do workshops. And so we've done a lot of sort of building in that way. So we're sort of, just sort of building community because we know there's plenty of pie to go around. And so we're not coming from it in that kind of crabs in a bucket mentality, but more of that that we're all in this together. And so when we're building the industry out, and so, but we have tons of crew here, right? So part of our, Eastern Panhandle, it's on the train line to DC. So we have the DC Baltimore crew. Then in Western West Virginia, we got amazing crew from what Marshall University over there has a BFA in filmmaking, and so we have great crew over there. And it's right by Kentucky, which has been balling really good in film, of course, in Louisville and Southern Kentucky as well. We see them everywhere we go, like American Film Market when we were out there with you guys. So so we're just kind of playing well with our neighbors, and that's the best way to go for us. We're a small state, only about 1.8 million people. So I always tell people think Vermont with wet cheese, but but we're right here in the middle of the action, so there's plenty of crew to go around.
That's super awesome. Can you discuss any recent success stories of how the initiatives that you lead have directly supported film productions in West Virginia?
Yeah, do you want to talk about some of the incentives, Megan, and just sort of some of the things that we've done lately?
Yeah, I think, what's been hot for us lately are, Lifetime type movies. Those have been kind of the big dollar amount productions that have come into the state. We've got producers here that have just developed a really great relationship with those state or those networks. And so, kind of a quirky little niche, but I think Dave does a really good job of aside from these larger productions, really lifting up and working with these smaller scale productions that we can also support through the tax incentive.
That's awesome. Let's talk about the tax incentive. What are the details on that in terms of taking advantage of the incentives in West Virginia?
Yeah, so in West Virginia, really exciting stuff. The program, as of 2022, we have a base rate of 27% back on the West Virginia expenditures. You can actually get up to 31% back if you hire 10 or more West Virginians as part of the production. All you need is a $50,000 spend in a calendar year. And then, feature length motion pictures, TVs, series, post production also counts. We could do music videos, lots of different categories that would qualify. And we're here to make that process really easy for people. Not always the easiest thing to understand, tax credits. That's just kind of their nature, but we're here to be nimble, help people through the process, connect with, the tax department when needed, and really help them understand what the process is that they need to go through to really get that benefit back on their spend.
I was just gonna say one of the I think great things about the tax incentive, and Megan's is a huge part of this, is that she was already working with the tax department every day doing the tourism tax credit, and so unlike some other states where it might be, somebody else coming to ask, putting this new program together, Megan was already working with the tax department, which is very important. And then the other thing I was gonna say is that West Virginia, we're a small state, and so about 98% of our businesses are small businesses, which is like 50 or less. And so we were already kind of like writing our laws, writing our language to cater to the mom and pop operations because we know that's the heart of West Virginia. And so we really consider it like, you know, government at the speed of business. I mean, we of course have to like go through all the hoops, but we try to make those hoops minimal and we try to make them very palatable so that any production, as you can see with the baseline of what the minimum spend is to get involved, we've made that so really cater to the indie productions can. So like everybody can get a seat at the table, everybody can tell their story here in West Virginia. And so I just wanted to say that's an important thing for us. Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. So we got some details on like the amounts that you can get back, some of the bonuses. I think you mentioned 10 or more locals. Can you walk us through that process? Are there caps on this program? Like when do people apply? Like walk us through the sort of the nuts and bolts of how a filmmaker can be engaged with the West Virginia Film Office.
Yeah, so great news, there is no cap in West Virginia on our credits. So we're not worried about those limitations. Like Dave said earlier, we're surrounded by 5 states. So the great thing is when other states around us kind of run out of credits, we can kind of still help productions out and continue to provide some assistance. So As far as the process of getting this incentive, first thing someone would need to do is make sure they're registered to do business in West Virginia, and that's a very simple process that can be done online. It's called the West Virginia One Stop Business Portal. And then from there, we have an eligibility application where we just kind of read through your script or whatever you have to offer, get an understanding of do you have funding for your film yet? Once we check off all those boxes, if the production is ready to roll within 120 days of our office's approval, that's perfect timing. So we can't approve something that's way too far in advance, but that sweet spot is just when you're a couple months out and kind of ready to execute on the production. And from there, we let folks do their thing. Dave is here to help be the boots on the ground, secure the crew, help with locations and everything like that. And then once the shoot wraps, there's kind of a secondary application process where you submit your final documents, your final script, final expenditures. Folks do have to have a third party CPA kind of go through some agreed upon procedures. And so once they take care of that part of the process, we take a look at that packaged up report. And at that point, we're able to issue the tax credit voucher. And then from there, people have the ability to transfer or sell that credit. And that's probably the easiest part of the process for us. People just kind of let us know, like, here's the entity who we're passing this credit to. We're in good standing with the state tax department. We've paid all of our obligations to this point, and so that's kind of how that works from the project inception to getting the tax credit voucher, and then most of the time selling it.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I was reading some headlines that there's been some major companies expanding into West Virginia, which sort of makes it even more exciting for filmmakers if they do want to transfer those credits. Gives them more opportunities for the debt financing or all those types of things that go into a production. That's super fascinating. You were mentioning something, Megan, also that was really interesting is like, okay, you have all these neighboring states, big film hubs. Maybe they hit a cap and they still want to take advantage of an incentive for the rest of their shoot. And David, we had kind of talked about this last time we got together, and you were really just talking about some of the amazing underutilized resources and locations in West Virginia. Can you sort of give us an overview or an understanding of when you're working with filmmakers, helping them with locations, what that looks like, how that goes down if they're trying to find something unique and compelling to shoot at?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we are definitely uniquely situated. I would kind of say, like, I kind of liken us to like a New Zealand or like a Switzerland of the East, right? So while we're really close to like the population bases, we're this amazing outdoor states. We had 75 million people visit us last year, mostly for the outdoors, and so 6 ski resorts here, right? And with the World Mountain Bike Championships here, the most rock climbing routes in the East, the most miles of runnable whitewater in America. So we have, a top 10 whitewater river in the world, the Gauley River, that's controlled by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers that can be turned off and on. So we have some really amazing assets. One unique thing is that we're a geographic chameleon. Where is West Virginia? Well, we know it's west of Virginia, or we like to say we're best Virginia, but what are we? Midwest? Are we north? Are we south? Are we mid-Atlantic? Well, the good thing is we're all of those things, and we have over 5,000 locations in our database. And so, we can double as anything, as Europe, as New York, just about any place. And one thing that I was going to mention that's kind of cool, Cam, with the tax incentive and the language is that, we don't have a minimum days shoot here. So, right now, for instance, we're looking at some shoots over in the Eastern Panhandle, which is on the line, train line to DC. And so if folks could shoot, say, Baltimore Inner Harbor, for some scenes and then come to West Virginia and shoot the rest of their film. And so we like that fact that we still have a lot of plays, with other states as well. So that's kind of a groovy thing that we have happening with locations. But we have some like premier locations. Like we have Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. It's a Civil War based. It's the second largest limestone building in North America, and also the setting for the Pulitzer Prize winning book, The Night Watch, that won the Pulitzer Prize this year in fiction, by Jane Ann Phillip. But that we can't keep people out of that. We just had Discovery Expeditions Unknown was there, and there's people shooting there all the time because it's such a unique location. So we have like historic prisons, like Moundsville Prison. We just had a 30-day shoot up there, and so really we have one of the world's largest Hare Krishna communities. We had Peacock did a series about New Vrindan Band and the Palace of Gold. So we have some really unique properties as well. And also America's newest national park, the New River.
Oh, no kidding. That's awesome.
It's the second longest north flowing river to the Nile.
Hmm. No
Yeah,
kidding.
you want
That's
to come
so
do
cool.
some whitewater rafting with us.
I would love to come out and visit. That'd be so awesome. I'm curious, can you guys dig in a little bit more? I mean, I think we have a broad overview of how the office sort of supports filmmakers in the state, but is there an overview of how you kind of both work together to ensure that film producers receive comprehensive support when they're shooting in West Virginia? Like, what does that look like? What can they expect from the office? Obviously, you want to walk them through the process. You want to see them be successful. You want to see them shoot in the state again, but in all practicality, if somebody needs to chat with somebody, what's that interaction like?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're constantly taking inquiries, whether it's a phone call or on our web form. Pretty easy to reach out to us. I think just go to westvirginia.gov/WVFilm is the hyperlink. There's a form there you can fill out. You can call our office, just kind of look us up at any point. Those messages will get to us, and as soon as we get something, Dave is on it with the response, copies me in, and we kind of go from there. If someone wants to set up a call to talk through details that he shoots through immediately, we'll make ourselves available to answer questions, whether they're simply looking for crew members, general information, or if they're focused on the tax incentive.
I would say two things on that, Cam, is that, we have a really nice split of duties here, and Megan's like so good about explaining, like, walking production companies who maybe aren't used to doing the tax credit, walking them through the ABCs of it, right? And then, where I was a trained journalist, I tried to be, just very forthcoming and quick with our responses to people. And then, West Virginia is kind of a know a guy and a gal state, and so we try to help production companies of any size, find whatever they need, and do they need an ice rink in July? Do they need the like they did for Christmas at Greenbrier? Do they need the interstate shut down, which we did for The Last of Us? Whatever it is, well, Megan and I aren't afraid to make that ask. So that's been a great thing, is that we'd like to say thank you to all of our partners kind of around the state. I've come at them with the caveat saying, I know this is going to sound weird, but we need to do this. Can we shut down the interstate? There's a production that really wants to do that, and so they did it. And so we're very grateful for the partnerships around the state with so many different entities. So it's made it a lot of fun. We often say that Country Roads is our stadium anthem, but Bill Withers' song "Lean on Me" that he wrote about growing up in a coal camp in West Virginia. Well, that's our mantra, right? So we're very grateful for people having that kind of attitude and being on board with us, even if it's not a huge movie. We know that this movie is very important to somebody that's telling their story, and we love that. We love to help people tell their story and to get it to screen.
That's amazing. That's really awesome. You guys have a really great program and sounds like some really amazing resources for filmmakers to film there. My last question for you all is, what advice would you give to producers considering West Virginia for their next project?
Give us a chance. I think that a lot of times when people think of West Virginia, they think of 1950s West Virginia, and they think we're like a one-trick pony with coal. We have, our state has had $10 billion worth of investment in the last 2 years. The largest green mill, Nucor, that's coming in, a $3.5 billion green mill, steel mill. And, that's just indicative of the kind of wide open, all of the above kind of mindset of West Virginia. And that I think that I think the interesting thing is too, Cameron, is that the folks that have come in from both coasts and from all over the U.S. the film here, they feel like they have told me that, we make them feel welcome And we know that we're not first on their list, maybe like or in their mind, right, of where to go. But once they're here, they love it. And they've told me that they kind of got the joy back of filmmaking, like the community is back. And so to be able to bring a little bit of that kind of Bill Withers slab fork feel to a film set where people maybe have lost their joy, and other places people are like, get off my lawn or give me $10,000. That's been beautiful, right? So we love the fact that we've been able to do that. So we bring the West Virginia flavor to the industry and infuse it with some of that bottom up, all hands on board, kind of all hands on deck kind of feel. We all love that. That's been beautiful.
Yeah, just to piggyback on Glave's sentiments, give us a chance, come visit. And I think, with film, it's probably so similar to kind of the tourism industry. If someone comes and visits us once for the first time, they're probably like 80% chance likely of being a return visitor. So our goal is to be as hospitable as we possibly can, make the experience great for everybody, and just see how we can work together. So we'd love to have folks here.
That is awesome. Well, Megan and David, thank you so much for joining me and telling me and our listeners about how awesome it is to work in West Virginia. It's super, super great, as always, to run into you, David. And thanks for joining me again.
Well, Cam, thank you so much. We really appreciate what you and Ryan and Rapbook does to give everybody those wraparound services and to make so many dreams happen, get their stories, get their stories made and get them on screen. It's not easy. It's a miracle that it happens, and it's beautiful to see that and be a part of the process.
It really is. I mean, I think all three of us have an interesting part to play in the ecosystem of being enablers for people to get these visions and these stories out into the world. And it's a huge honor and a big privilege. So with that, see you all next time.
All right. Thanks so much.
Get it.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
On Production is brought to you by Rapbook. With automated time card calculations, real-time production accounting, and payroll you can run with just a click, Rapbook makes it easier than ever to manage your entire production from one login. To learn more about how Rapbook is transforming payroll and production accounting, check out our website at rapbook.com.